Okay, in this video, I want to guide you through some steps to do a little bit of an upgrade to your kitchen. In this case, we're taking the counters out and we're putting a backsplash, and we're actually reusing this deep cast iron sink as as a request from my customers. So now, to remove these counters, normally what happened is that they either were built over here on site or they were purchased with curves. In this case, we're actually taking this island away as well. These ones actually are fastened on the corners with some screws. So find the right screwdriver and remove them from the corners. See if you have the chance to use a drill. I mean, you can actually unscrew them as well. And that's the first thing. Now, you have to understand a few things about counters. There's a lot of fear of breaking the new a stone countertop, like in this case. We're going to use some granite. And don't get too frustrated with it. I mean, if you have a surface that completely 100% level, what you want to maintain is some sort of continuation on the surface. In other words, if you have some areas when you put your stone that is kind of empty, in other words, there is no a attachment in between the stone and the counter, there is no contact, you can actually use some wood shims or plastic shims to make that contact possible. As long as it fits wherever you were before, you're fine. You know, sometimes people make the mistake of raising the things about an inch or two because the houses are settling, and then the lines are start looking really, really bad, especially where the drawers meet and all the stuff. So now, in this case, the sink is going to remain in the house, a cast iron sink, a beautiful sink. It has a garbage disposer, it has a regular drain. What we're going to do is we're going to close all the valves underneath. We're going to make sure that we can collect some water on the P-trap, which is the pipe that maintains the odor away by having some water, so it's called the trap. And so we're going to remove that, we're going to empty it out, and we're going to drop the systems down while we work on the counters. So we're going to take all that stuff out, we're going to take the backsplash. Want to make sure that we don't compromise too much this wallpaper that is in this section, so we're going to cut it straight over here. Again, we're going to put some backsplash over here, remove all the cups, all the little plates and covers with the proper screwdriver, and make sure that the area is fairly accessible for the stone. Whenever you're bringing the stone in or somebody else is bringing the stone in, you want to make sure that they're not going to bump into something, because pieces of stone are normally really heavy. All right, so that's how we start the project. Now we went through the removal of the existing countertop. It was a little harder, especially in this area where we had the sink. It was a really heavy sink, so we decided to cut the two areas of the counter where the sink was sitting, and then remove the other parts because it was really heavy and really well attached to the formica through the years. Now here's the other stage that you need to worry about. The counter is really heavy. Since it's going to be a natural stone, you want to protect it of overweight in certain areas. So what we're going to do, since we have some transitions and the type of stove calls for some sort of a counter on the back, we're going to provide a support. We're going to put a 1x4 over here that's going to support the continuation of I will say, the small piece that is going to be in the back. Then we're going to have to have different sections. One section here, one small section in the back, and the other section in this area, because of the fragile nature of the stone. Now on this side, we have another situation, is that it was a void, a hole. So we need to make sure that we continue a straight surface that can provide some support for that area. And after that, we're going to put some brackets on the other side so we can actually support very well the overlap, the overlap that is going to be some sort of like a seating bar on that side. Here, we're going to have another support underneath. So this area is supported, and also we're going to have a continuation on this side, so we can actually see that L-shaped type of area that we have. So that's how we continue. Obviously, when we remove the backsplash that was here, there was some damage to the surface. So we're gonna make sure that we correct that stuff before we work with the backsplash. We need to remove obviously the wallpaper in this case, and prepare it for the project. You're gonna need a few things. Obviously, when you move the heights of your sinks, sometimes you need to get some new piping, like traps of extensions, or maybe the hoses. If the hoses were cut to a particular size, you may need to reduce it. If it's reduced, it's fine, but if you need to enlarge the hoses, sometimes if you don't count with flexible, you need to get some new ones. So that's gonna have to make a little list for the staff. Obviously, get some good silicone, some clear silicone designed for bathrooms and sinks and kitchens. They have better properties to repel the mold and all the mildew stuff. And that's how we continue. So we're gonna start with some little carpentry right now. Now that we have all the counters out and all the stuff, we have to continue with the new supports for the counter. In this case, we have areas that are going to be pretty much freestanding, and they're going to have cabinets on the bottom. I'm talking about this section over here. I'm talking about the area over there by the stove that is going to need some support. So what we did is that we actually noticing the highest points of the counter that are this little, the cabinets, these little corner brackets, so the highest part of the counter, of the cabinet. We know that the counter is going to sit on top of that. So what we did, without worrying too much about the level, because we know that the cabinets themselves are straight, but that doesn't mean that they are completely level. You need to worry to be frustrated. If you want to go ahead and make them 100% level, it's fine. You want to make sure that the counters are sitting in a nice, flat, straight surface, right? So you can be straight and not being level, right? So this is the situation. I'm extending the height, knowing that all this is nice and straight with this big level, and I'm making some marks on the walls, right? This wall, the same thing on the other side, that wall. That way, when we cut the piece of wood, which I already have, this is this one that is here, I'm using a 2x4 on this wall. So I already made my marks. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put the respective screws to hold it against the wall so that the new counter can sit over this thing. And obviously we're going to put some more over there, smaller ones. And that's how we continue with the project. Now, if you have situations, because everything is imperfections everywhere, you can use wood shims or plastic shims. These are some leftovers from a job that I was doing, and I also have wood shims. So what this is going to do is that it's going to help you in those areas that you may have little concave situation. You're going to put this thing in, you're going to just kind of tackle it in, and you're going to put some silicone underneath it, if is the case. In this case, we're making sure that everything is nice and straight, which it is. You're going to put obviously some silicone to support the stone against the cabinets, okay? So that's how we continue. Okay, now that the surface is ready and straight for the counters, we're going to proceed with a couple of manpower to install these pieces. There, some of them are going to have notches, and the other ones are going to be just straight pieces that are going to join together. Now that we have the counters over the cabinets, we're going to proceed to do the final chimming and actually the seaming over here. I will say, they have to be nice and straight. It has to be really well organized to be able to put the epoxy compound on.
Que la asesina, pues. Un poquito ahí con ella.
stage of the counter replacement. Now the stone is already on place. We already put the sink to work back again correctly. We secured the dishwasher, and also we actually finished the island as well. The island was connected properly over here, so it was leveled entirely. We have some little areas that are going to be filled later on as a part of another project, of the painting project. That's not a part of this, but at least now I'm able to teach you a little bit of how this type of work takes place. You know, you have to be just careful with the weight of this thing. It's extremely heavy, especially long sections. You're talking about 500 pounds plus of one single piece. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please do let me know. Subscribe and like it and share it with your friends, all right? I see you in another video. Thank you.